Can you hear me?
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, sir.
How are you? Such a big group, actually.
Mhm.
All right. So, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So, today happens to be the introductory class. We'll have a brief session. And let me just ask you, how was your first semester? Yes. Somebody from the class should respond. How was your first semester?
So it was good, but we missed the offline one a lot.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. That is something which all of us are missing. The the real classroom, whether it is the teachers or the students, everybody is missing the real classroom. That the feeling of being together, no doubt, um, using the different modes of or different platforms for conducting the class. It's okay. I mean, it's like you are doing what is required, but that feeling is missing. That feeling of togetherness, uh, that is obviously absent, and that is a universal thing. It's not something localized. Everywhere, people have the same issues, but let's see how well we can manage with the available resources that we have. So, uh, your new semester has started, semester two. Uh, so you have already. Did you have any sessions with other teachers?
Yes, sir. It's going on.
Uh, what are the other subjects that you are doing? Okay,
So
before that, let me just ask you, what were the subjects that you have done in your first semester?
we have dealt with the, I think, eight subjects like marketing management, human resource management, quantitative techniques and method, and I
Okay,
think management information system, and
okay,
concept of management and economics,
okay,
managers for
okay,
economics, and,
okay,
and I think spreadsheet modeling,
Special
like
modeling.
RDSL.
okay. Accounting.
Yes, accounting. Really.
Okay, fine. So, I am Asad Rahman, and I'll be engaging the paper of international business with you. Okay, and basically, my specialization is in the field of marketing, consumer behavior, halal tourism, and I also take up the subject of uh, Islamic retail products. I also teach international finance. So, I mean, I have been with this department for the last 23 years, and that's how it is. I mean, we'll get to know each other as the journey moves on. Am I audible? Can you hear me? Well, the other
Yes,
side
sir.
seems all right. So, Uh, I'm not using the video, but very soon we'll start using the video. Uh, Now, as far as international business is concerned, uh, can somebody from the class define what is international business? Yes, someone from the class take the lead and make an attempt. Introduce yourself and take a leap. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay. So, in the last semester, you have already done marketing management, you have done human resource management, quantitative techniques, accounting, modeling, information systems, right, to name a few. So, and concepts of management and other things. Now, let me just ask you a very basic question. What do you understand by marketing? What is your idea? What you have, you know, understood during your semester about what is marketing management?
Delivering the goods and services at profit.
Okay, good. Any other idea?
So according to me, marketing is increasing the reach of our products.
Okay, that's also pretty much valid. Delivering of goods and services at a profit, increasing the reach of your products, services. Okay, what else? What is the starting point of marketing management?
Sir, it is a process of promoting and selling of goods.
Very good. It's a process
Sir,
of promoting.
it
Yes.
is a process of identifying the wants and demand, wants and needs of the customer and providing proper
Okay.
goods.
Okay. Very good. Who is this?
Abdul Wahab, sir.
Abdul Wahab. Okay. So it's about identifying the needs and wants, right, of the consumers and making products accordingly, right?
Yes.
So how do you differentiate between needs and wants? What is a need and what is a want?
So when a need is backed by purchasing power, it becomes a want. Like I might be a need will be that I'm hungry, I need food, but
Okay.
a want becomes like I want pizza specifically because I have the money and a pizza is available in my area.
Okay. Need you have identified is hunger, right? You are hungry. And basically, need is something which is natural to all the living beings, whether it is, you know, human beings or animals. Right from the moment we are born with certain inherent needs which are embedded into our systems, right? And when nobody has to tell us what we need, if we are hungry, we feel it from inside. We can feel the pangs of hunger right into our stomach, that feeling of emptiness. If we are thirsty, we feel it, right? If we need to cool our body, during the winters. So automatically, depending upon your specific requirements. You may put on some extra clothes like a sweater or a jacket. So the need is common, right? The need is something which is common for all the people, whether it is hunger, whether it is shelter, whether it is, that feeling of being thirsty, and so on. I mean, there's a big list, right? And there's a hierarchy of needs. I'm sure you must have already gone through that. Now, when we convert that need into a specific product or service, as very rightly pointed out, that somebody is hungry. I mean, I should not be talking about hunger because already all of us are feeling hungry at this time, right? It's almost a time for the lunch. So the need is hunger. Some people would want a pizza for it. Some people would want a burger. Some people would want, uh, you know, some kind of, full-fledged thali, dal, roti, chawal, sabzi, and so on. Some people might go for chole bhature, right? And so on, right? So there's a whole menu. So when you want specific satisfiers of that need, am I, am I audible? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. You're right.
ठीक है. तो जब वो नीड जो है उसके साथ एक स्पेसिफिक सेटिस्फायर बन जाता है, तो वो नीड जो है वांट में कन्वर्ट हो जाती है. योर नीड इज हंगर बट यू वांट अ बर्गर. योर नीड इज हंगर, you want a pizza. Your need is hunger, you want biryani. Your need is hunger, you want chole bhature, right? Now it becomes specific. And then comes the third stage, that is demand. When the want is backed by the ability to purchase, purchasing power. अब आपके पास पैसे भी हैं, आपने बाहर से गुजर रहे हैं, एक होटल है सामने, वहां पे बिरयानी जो है बिक रही है, और से फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक प्लेट 50 रुपए की है, आपकी जेब में 35 रुपए है, तो बिरयानी तो आपका दिल कर रहा है खाने को, लेकिन आपके पास 35 रुपए है, तो एक प्लेट आप नहीं ले सकते. मे बी यू कैन गो फॉर अ हाफ प्लेट. यू विल हैव टू compromise with the quantity, or maybe you'll have to settle for something which, which has a price tag lesser than that, or something which suits you, which suits your pocket. So one thing is that you have to have purchasing power, and second thing is willingness to purchase. This is also very important. बहुत लोग होते हैं उनके पास पैसे होते हैं, but they don't have that willingness to purchase. They don't have the willingness to buy. So unless these two conditions are met, a want is not converted into effective demand. So you start with the basic point, that is need, which is common, graduate to the want with the specific satisfiers. And finally, when you have the affordability, I mean, when you have the purchasing power and also the ability to purchase, then it becomes an effective demand. So marketing management is nothing but demand management. The marketing managers, the astute marketers, they identify the needs which are already there, and they try to convert those needs into specific satisfiers in terms of different products and services which they are marketing, or which they are trying to sell to the market. And then looking at the profile of the market segment or the consumers which they are serving or which they are targeting to serve. So they look at their purchasing power, they look at their economic you know, capability, whether they will be able to buy it or not. So accordingly, they try to, you know, do some kind of exercise in pricing and make the product affordable, I mean, or easy to buy, right? Sometimes, am I audible? आप लोग समझ पा रहे हैं जो मैं बात कह रहा हूँ?
Yes, sir.
है ना? कभी कभी कोई प्रोडक्ट है, वो इट इज समथिंग लाइक, यू नो, कि it's like a burger or a pizza. You don't have to spend too much of money. उसमें भी schemes आ जाती हैं. You cannot buy a full pizza. You can buy one slice, two slice, depending upon your ability to purchase. And if it is a big ticket item like a car, for example, so not everybody can pay the entire amount. मान लीजिए if the car's price is say rupees 10 lakhs for that particular model, so it's not so easy to shell out that entire amount in one go. So the marketing people, they have the installment schemes that you make a down payment, maybe you pay say 1 lakh rupees as a down payment and the remaining amount can be paid as installments. So that's also affordability can be managed. And obviously there is a, you know, there are so many examples which are available if you just look around. And as a teacher, I would say that we should keep our eyes and ears open as students of business management, as students. So it's important that we try to understand the things or the changes that are taking place around us. Now, for example, in the wake of this pandemic, how the business landscape is changing. What are the new requirements for conducting the business? Can somebody tell me what are the, I mean, what has changed actually over the last, I mean, I will say 1.5 years? What has changed? Because we are all bearing a witness to what has changed. We are a part of that change. So, what has changed around us? Yes.
So office to work from home.
Okay. That's
More
fine.
people
That's
are buying online.
very true. What else? Very true.
The economic condition of the many people.
That's also very, very important point that you have identified. People are working from home. People are buying more things online. Home delivery, economic conditions. Obviously, in many households, things have changed drastically, especially when people have, you know, they lost their jobs or they're not doing good in their business, right? The concern for security, this concern for safety, hygiene, right? These are increasing, and especially in the service sector. I mean, that is worst hit because the goods can be produced, they can be stored, they can be transported and delivered to the customers. But when it comes to services, the customer and the service provider, they have to be together. Whether you talk about the restaurant business, whether you talk about the personal care business, like, you know, the grooming business, the say for example the haircut shops. So wherever you are required to be with the service provider, because of the concern for your safety, because of the fear of the spread of the virus, people are avoiding going, they're not availing such kind of services. So naturally the small businesses are the worst hit. If you look around the AMU campus, I mean there was this big business of the small dhabas, which was profitable mainly because of the presence of the students who would flock to them whenever they had some time. They would have their breakfast there, they would have their lunch, the regular tea and other things. But now if you look at them, most of them have closed down because there are no students on the campus. So all those shops having, who had the student clientele, right? So they have suffered, they have, they have been worst hit due to the pandemic. And this is just one part of the story, right? All over the world, if you look at the tourism sector, what kind of changes have taken place. The flights are not operating between so many countries because of the fear of the new variants being spread by the passengers. And even if there are flights which are operating, and the people who are traveling, they are traveling after so much of testing and reports and everything. And once they fly, or once they travel from one destination to another, so they have to go for a compulsory quarantine for 10 to 14 days. And again, so travel and tourism and hotel, everything is you know taking a major setback. Can you hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good. So what is happening is, now in fact, this pandemic is one example which has taught us a lesson, that how closely we all are integrated with each other, right? A virus that started in one part of the world, in one country, in one lab, and today it has engulfed the entire world. And people are in the, no, they have already witnessed the two waves. Somewhere there are, uh, you know, kind of fears or suspicions of a third wave. So, there's hardly any country which is left untouched. Hardly anybody can say whether the rich or the poor that they have not been affected by the pandemic. They have remained kind of insulated, right? Almost all the sectors of the business have been affected, whether it is banking, travel and tourism, I've already talked about, services, education, right? Now, this entire thing becomes kind of, because of the pandemic, it becomes meaningless whether you are doing an MBA from Aligarh Muslim University, the AMU campus, whether you are doing it from the Kishanganj campus, those who got admitted into the IIMs, I mean, they are also doing the online classes, right? I mean, they hardly got to see the campuses of the different IIMs in which they got themselves into after qualifying the CAT. The students for this year, they are yet to write there. I mean, they are yet to take their attempt at the NEET or the JEE advanced or the mains. So the entire thing, whether it is education, whether it is the banking, whether it is the hotel, travel, tourism, other service industries have taken a major setback. The only sectors which have prospered is, yes, somebody from the class, the sectors which have prospered during this pandemic.
Medical.
Sanitation.
Healthcare.
So the IT sector. Online
G,
education.
Sir, e-commerce.
e-commerce, online education. What else?
Digital events, webinar, and etc.
Yes, webinars. What else? The
Pharmaceutical
hospitals,
sector.
pharmaceuticals, hospitals, or we can say healthcare industry, right? So that would take care of pharmaceuticals, hospitals, and the diagnostics, right? So, in fact, the pandemic has also taught us uh, that how we can, you know, work upon the drawback that has, or the lacunae that has been created by this uh, COVID-19, and how we can make the best use of the available resources. But obviously, wherever the internet facility is not there, or wherever people are unable to own the smartphone in such situations, there are, they are, I mean, people are definitely facing some kind of a void. They are facing problems. So on the whole, what we see, that the landscape not only of the business, but also our daily routine, our lives are being affected. There are issues related to health and hygiene. There are issues related to staying fit, both mental and physical fitness, because of being confined to to your house. We are kind of sometimes developing tendencies related to something like anxiety, depression, eating disorders, sleeping disorders, right? Because we are not supposed to go to the office. We are working from home. We are having classes from home. So the entire routine is disturbed as compared to the pre-COVID times, when people would get up early in the morning, get ready for the office, have their breakfast, and leave for the office, work there for, say, maybe 7-8 hours or more, and come back. So that was the kind of a routine that people were following. Now, what is happening is that since you don't have to go to your office, so you're working late in the night, you're watching television, one movie after another, and then you're sleeping in the daytime. So even this routine is disturbed and it has some serious repercussions for the health, right? People are putting on weight. There, there is increased instances of type 2 diabetes because of, the what you call as compulsive binging. People while watching television, people are eating, right? Things like chips or other snacky items, right? So, I mean, these are some of the things which we are all a witness to. Now, why I am talking about this is that it is the same situation all over the world. When we try to compare ourselves with others, often it happens that, it is very common. It is a very, very common observation that we develop a feeling that we are the ones who are suffering while the people in the other parts of the world or elsewhere, they are enjoying, they are having a good time. If you talk to those people about whom we have this kind of an idea, they will also say the same thing. They will express the same feelings that we are all confined, we are passing through some of the toughest times, while the other people are having good time. If you, I'm sure all of you are, you must be watching the news recently that how when the uh, lockdown was lifted, how the people made a beeline to the different hill stations, and the entire thing, whether it is Nainital or Masuri or other hill stations, they got so much overcrowded that ultimately authorities had to intervene and send a lot of tourists back. So somewhere it is, a very, very serious trend, despite the fact that people have very recently witnessed the second wave, which was very, very severe. And despite having witnessed such a, the severity of the epidemic, we are not learning lessons. Or maybe we are so frustrated that we want to risk it all, but we just want to get out of our, I mean, we just want to, unshackle out of the, kind of chains that have been created around us. So we are trying to talk about this is primarily because our discussions in the subsequent sessions shall be, we will be talking about the different aspects of international business. But for every topic that we discuss, wherever possible, we'll try to have a COVID angle to it. We'll try to look at it from this perspective also, that how international business is affected by this epidemic, whether it is the marketing management, whether it is the distribution and logistics, whether it is the promotions. Now, I'm sure you must have seen some of the advertisements of food products like, say, Domino's Pizza. No longer they talk about the taste and the variety and other things. They primarily talk about that it is a pizza which is made without the human touch, and it is delivered with a lot of safety. So they are primarily talking about pizza delivery with safety and hygiene. Everywhere, the main focus or the focus of the message has got attuned to hygiene and safety, protection against the spread of virus. Similarly, the human resources all over the world, they have taken a setback. I mean, because of, say, when there's no job, when there's no work, when people are not turning to the restaurants, they're not coming over for their, you know, lunch or dinner or otherwise. So the restaurants, they are shutting down. The whether it is the chef or the bearers or other people, they're losing their jobs. In many businesses, especially in the private sectors, all over the world, there has been a loss of jobs because of the loss of business. So people are being sent back to their countries from their, from the places where they were working. So there's also an exodus of expat population from the different countries, right? Back to their parent countries, back to their home countries. Similarly, because of, you know, temporary, I would call it temporary lack of demand, because when people are losing their jobs, their disposable income is shrinking. They are primarily dependent upon their savings. So the demand for the different products which they were erstwhile or they were previously buying and using, so that demand is shrinking, and because of the shrink in the demand, naturally the business is being hit. There's, because of less demand, naturally you just cannot keep on, you know running your production machines and keep stockpiling the inventories of products. So that is also being affected. So almost all the sectors, whether it is the human resources, operations, marketing, finances, everywhere you find that there is some kind of a deficit, there is some kind of a loss that is pretty much, you know evident. It is